It's amazing. History does repeat itself, and I'm going to tell you that back in 2007, when the town of Island Pond officials and employees, as well as employees of the school department and NECA, teachers, employees, yeah, all of them, okay? DCF, Vermont State Police. I want to know why Amy Passari LeClaire was feeding the kids alcohol. I want to know why she's still a state trooper and why she was never investigated. I can tell you my theory about why she was never investigated is because they have defamed me, hated on me, and it's a systematic shutout. Nobody wants to listen to me, but they all want to fight against me and try to destroy me. They're trying to kill my daughter with over medicating her. They locked her up involuntarily several times to try to silence her, shot her up with medications, and then they take her back to the abuser, which is mental health services run by TJ Donovan. Now, noting that in 2007, May of 2007, okay, my home was vandalized and I had to leave my home in Island Pond, Vermont a month before my lease was up and go stay with Pamela Taylor in Morgan with my niece and nephews. She was never there. She never was there when the kids were growing up. I was there taking care of her kids as well as I take care of mine. She was a drunk then, and I'm sure she's still a drunk today. I don't know, I have nothing to do with her. But I can tell you right now, somebody's going to find out something about her. Because the fact is, I was at that house, and between her, Mary Hare, and Judy O'Connor from Department of Children and Family Services at Newport, Vermont, and another girl named Renee, okay? They were all involved in this. I've still got all the reports, Patrick Ryan. I'll probably still be able to find all the emails. I know I've got copies of the emails because my attorney gave them to me. So that's proof of how many times that I've had different email addresses because they continue to lock me out of my accounts. Isn't that right? The state of Vermont and whoever else is against me and conspiring. Okay? So knowing it was 2007, we're dating it forward now to 2017 when I moved back to the state of Vermont. Just seems to be 10 years later, right? And they tried to expel me, exile me, and banish me again. Well, I didn't realize that until I met another lady from Vermont in Florida and said that she can't come back here for another 7 years and her kids are up here. Why can't she be in the state of Vermont? Because it seems to be that TJ Donovan and all the frivolous people against her have been repeat of history. They did the same thing to her. And now she's got a warrant for her arrest. So she stays out of the state of Vermont. As long as she stays out of the state of Vermont and doesn't talk about what they did to her and her children, they don't go after her. Now, with that being said, the state of Vermont's always after me. They sent me a copy of a warrant for my arrest back in November. They also called me and told me that I had to go make medical decisions on my daughter because she was found in a hospital to be not only unrecognizable, but nonverbal, with no identification because she'd been in a sex trafficking ring. So noting that was 10 years later, when I had showed up there with a protection from abuse order, fled for my life and safety, NECA put me in an apartment. And lo and behold, 3 days later, I was kicked out of it through social media when I went to Florida with a friend to get my medical records. God love you. He's passed away now, so we can't verify it. But God can. I'm here to tell the truth. I was kicked out of the apartment and they placed Brianna in it with her boyfriend and his brother. I never got my belongings back. I had to sleep in a vehicle. That was some girl named Kat that did that. I've got the case. And I'm going to show you the cases later this evening. But I'm trying to get the story out. And then I'll go over the paperwork as I am photocopying it. I'm going to take it and put it with a statement and get it notarized and send it. Here I am. But because the mail in Vermont in Maine, the United States Postal Service carriers and whoever else is involved in this wasn't getting my mail to me. Isn't that right, Janine? Okay? Isn't that right, Pete? Okay? So with that being said, it's a lot of shit. How do I survive it? I don't know. Everybody keeps on asking me that. I don't drink, I don't do drugs. And I sleep good at night. Except for when I know that I haven't got any answers. And when I know there's something more that I can do about this. So like this morning when I woke up and I read the article on the Google about Michael Knox, the former principal that was involved in all this shit of destroying my family back in 2006 and 7, in cahoots with everybody I just mentioned. He's been arrested on rape charges. Had they listened to me back then, that girl wouldn't have gone through it today. Okay? He wouldn't have pending charges because he would have already been put away doing his time. Isn't that right? But instead, the state of Vermont, it keeps on trying to kick me out of the state of Vermont so that I can't be around my family. I'm a natural born citizen. That's a federal violation of my rights. That's the fact I'm in Washington, D.C. to tell about it. I'm going to share all that information. And I am asking for a reconsideration on the frivolous dismissal of the lawsuits that myself and my daughter, as a co-plaintiff, filed against everybody in the state of Vermont. I'll be sharing a copy of those with you all, again, later on this evening. As I'm going through the paperwork, I'm going to flash it to you so you can see it. I've got proof and documentation of everything I talk about. Also have proof and documentation that in recorded audio, that being 5 years later, when I went back, 4 years later, excuse me, to be with my daughter like she requested, I remember clear as day, Michael Hatton, the landlord, asking her, "Are you sure?" And she said, "Yeah." He asked me the same question. I said, "Yeah, and whatever it takes to be with my daughter so I can help her out. She can be a, striving, thriving, great mother." Okay? So I took the apartment on the 3rd floor. A month later, Brianna took the apartment on the 3rd floor beside me. We had one big open family. As it always should be, excuse me. However, it seems to be that there's this crazy situation in Island Pond, and where I showed you earlier about what's going on in Island Pond in the book that was written about it, yeah, that should explain a lot about what I'm talking about, because we were surrounded by so much negativity, and it's called the Yates, the Morris, the Bickfords, and the Gervais. Because you see, Teddy Miller's already gone. He moved somewhere else. Then Noyce, Jeffrey Noyce, he's in cahoots with all of this too. You see, because one hand washes the other, and he's got reins on 2 counties as a single sheriff. Then you get Essex County Sheriff's Department. They're all in cahoots too. They all know about what's happened, and then they have their do-boy. Would that be Mark Newell? Mark Newell's the one that threatened my life up in the woods at the cabin. And then asked me why I wasn't scared to ride with a male with a gun. Well, why would you ask me such a question? Why would you put your hands on me? And why did my car and all the evidence with the bloody pants and more come up missing off the property that I resided on? Why is it that I still have the emails from the Vermont State Police telling me that they weren't going to do anything about it? Why do I still have the recordings from Robert J. McKenna that he wasn't going to do anything about this? However, all the videos that were on here got deleted and my account got shut down for telling you the truth. That's why I have come to Washington, D.C. and I am surrounded by my blood family. Yeah. Howes, Kennedy, and a whole lot more. We're going to find out why T.J. Donovan has gotten away with all the frivolous acts that he's done against me and my family. With that being said, I have full intent to share with you the written statement requesting an FBI investigation straight from Washington, D.C.